Marcel Mendy, the Executive Director of the National Sports Council under the Ministry of Youth and Sports, on Thursday described the Gambia Wrestling Association's claim that the council has less regard for wrestling as misleading. The latest scuffle between the Sports Council and the Wrestling Association came when the association accused the council of not providing necessary or adequate resources for the wrestling team's preparation that is currently in Niger for the ECOWAS African Wrestling Championship. Let's hear details of that in this report. The National Sports Council is body overseeing all sporting associations in the Gambia, but Wrestling Association seems not to be impressed with Sport Council's conduct towards their activities. In its recent media engagement, the Gambia Wrestling Association leadership accused the National Sports Council of giving less regard to wrestling, while arguing that its association has not been receiving the required support from NSC and the Ministry of Youth and Sports under the tenure of Bakary Y. Baji. But in a strong response to the Gambia Wrestling Association, the Executive Director of the National Sports Council, Marcel Mendy, while speaking to the media on Thursday, said the unfounded claims made by the Wrestling Association are just intended to defame not only the Sports Council, but even the Ministry of Youth and Sports. Marcel Mendy gives an account of the Ministry of Youth and Sports and the National Sports Council relentless support towards wrestling development in the Gambia.
However, I wish to remind him that as far as we know, all the ECOWAS Wrestling Championships that the Gambia participated in were supported by the Ministry of Youth and Sport through the National Sport Council, through the payment of allowances to members of delegations, flight tickets other than those that were bought by ECOWAS, uniforms for members of the delegation, and impress. It is interesting that the Secretary General of the Gambia Wrestling Association forgot that government through the Ministry of Youth and Sport supported a number of wrestling initiatives and athletes, including the GWA regional congresses, something that was actually their responsibility.
The National Sports Council boss also described the allegations levied on them by the Wrestling Association as dishonest. Marcel Mendy explains that the reimbursement requested by the association for the transportation and refreshments of the wrestling team during their preparation is the responsibility of the association.
The dishonesty manifested is beyond our imagination and still leaves us wondering as to why one will engage in such slander. Mr. Suare, ladies and gentlemen, went on to claim that the GWA should have been refunded monies used to give transport refund to the wrestlers and bought them refreshment during their training programs. It is therefore urgent to educate him on the fact that national sport associations are responsible for the day-to-day management of national teams. Therefore, it is incumbent on them to foot such bills, while the government takes responsibility for major bills such as flight tickets, hotel accommodation and feeding, allowances, amongst other things. It is overwhelmingly important for Mr. Suare and the GWA to accept the fact that the main source of funding for the association, that is the GWA, is from payment of fines and license by wrestlers. As such, those funds must be spent on the wrestlers and other related costs, and not on GWA members for events such as marriages and naming ceremonies.
Mr. Mendy also indicates that the press conference conveyed by the Gambia Wrestling Association shows a lack of understanding of basic principles of their responsibilities.
Speaking at the press conference, ladies and gentlemen, was the president of the GWA, Mr. Serigne Modou Faye. From his statement, it was very evident that the GWA lacked the understanding of basic principles. According to him, the Ministry of Youth and Sport through the National Sport Council didn't provide the GWA all that was budgeted for. And that was the second time, thus implying there is an agenda against the GWA. Ladies and gentlemen, every right-thinking person will agree with me that budgets are just estimates. Given this fact, and going by good practices, they are meant to be scrutinized and supported as per the availability of funds.
The latest brawl between the National Sports Council and the Wrestling Association came up as the Gambian national wrestling team participates in the upcoming ECOWAS Wrestling Championship to be held from the 17th to the 19th of March 2023 in Niamey, Niger. Gambia won many individual accolades in the past, but it is still searching for the country's first winners medal group category, following a third-place finish in the 2011 edition held in Dakar. Reporting for Eyeafrica News, I am Yahya Jammeh.